This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jenny Green. I am a technical specialist with the EOCP. Today's webinar is going to give you some information on facility classification and how to complete that process online. So this webinar is really meant for facility owners, chief operators, people in charge of systems. If you are looking for general information on how to use our CRM, please check out the CRM Basics webinar, which is also available on our website. So a quick little bit of background on the CRM, or our Customer Relationship Manager. This is a new system that was launched by the EOCP in 2017. It is a one-stop shop for everything to do with your kind of career as a water, wastewater operator or industry professional. It's a place that you can go to confirm CEUs or look for courses. You can apply for exams. You can classify your facilities and reclassify your facilities. You can pay your dues. You can find out information about operators, different municipalities, facilities, all sorts of things. So, having correct and up-to-date information helps us at the EOCP help you out in the field. So it's really important that everybody keeps their CRM profile and relationships and all those things up to date, classification information. We only know what you tell us. We also understand that change is hard. This was this system was very different than our previous system. So we do appreciate people taking the time to get used to it and use it. It's a great system. There's no other system like it in Canada for a water wastewater certification body. So, we're quite proud of it, and we hope that you are enjoying it as well. So today's webinar, I am briefly going to touch on how to register and how to make sure your relationships are up to date. That is covered in detail in the CRM Basics webinar, but it's very important for classifying facilities. I'll go through where you can find your facility information as well as your classification history. So every time your facility has been reclassified since it was originally commissioned, we have that record. I'll talk a little bit about our new classification models, which were also launched in 2017 for water distribution, water treatment, wastewater collection, and wastewater treatment. I should note that this webinar does not cover small water systems or small wastewater systems. Those classifications and reclassifications are still done manually. So if you have a system that's less than 500 people, there's no need to watch this webinar. You can contact us for more details. I'll then talk a little bit about our online application, so scores, what we are looking for when we ask for a facility schematic, the relationships, and the invoicing process. I will go through these things on our live system and hope to show you exactly what you need to do. As this webinar today is being recorded, there's no live audience. We won't have extra live examples and questions at the end, but I will provide my contact details. So if you have any questions throughout, please feel free to get in touch with me. So this is the main page of our CRM. Essentially, if you go to eocp.ca and hit login, this is the page that you'll see. Hopefully, most of you are quite familiar with this already. So you need to log in using the email address that's associated with your EOCP profile. So please contact us before you register a new account if you think you have an account already. So if you've been an operator for a long time, or if you've been in the industry for a long time, there's a good chance that you're already in our system. If you don't have your password, you can reset it by clicking that forget password link, or just give us a shout at the office. However, if you're not an operator, or you've never been associated with the EOCP or kind of worked in the water and wastewater industry in BC, you will need to register a new account. So you can go ahead and click register there down in the bottom right-hand corner. Once you log in and you get everything all set up, one of the main things that's important for being able to classify your facility online is ensuring that you have the proper relationship status. So in order to see facility details, you must have an accepted relationship with that facility. So when you log into your homepage, you'll see your name, your address, all your personal information, and then you'll see a tab that says relationships. Under there, you should see a list of all the facilities that you are associated with. So not just your community, but every actual facility. Now, in order to be able to see details, that relationship status needs to show as accepted. You'll see there's 3 relationships. 2 are accepted, 1 is in pending. The relationship that's in pending status, I won't be able to see any of those details. So if you notice on your profile something is in pending, please contact us at the office and we will confirm that that is a valid relationship. You can edit these relationships at any time. So you can change your title, your start date, your end date, your operator type. You can do that at any time by right-clicking and selecting edit. I should note you can't delete a relationship, but you can end it. So if you no longer work at a facility or you've changed municipalities, please end those relationships. They will stay on your profile, but they'll be grayed out. And that's just so we can maintain that historical record. So actually, I'll just, before I move on, we're going to talk now about facility classification. And in order to be able to access all of this facility classification stuff, your relationship type needs to be either chief operator or person in charge. So if you're listed as operator, employee, consultant, administrator, you will not have access. Again, just you can simply right-click edit to change that, or you can give us a shout in the office. So facility classification, this has been a manual process for a lot of years where you would send us an email with a form filled out. Everything is now done online through the CRM. The new models are now available for water treatment, distribution, wastewater treatment, and collection. Like I mentioned, for those larger level 1 to 4 systems, not small systems. All facility classifications now expire every 5 years and must be updated in the CRM. So if you have not reclassified your facility since the new models launched in 2017, your classification is currently expired. All facility classifications expired on June 30th. So you can log in and see that. I'll show you where you can find that information. And now everything must be revised every 5 years. So if you haven't changed anything, it's a really easy process. If you have gone through an upgrade or a change, it takes a little bit longer, but still a very easy process. Small systems are classified manually, and you can request a reclassification at any time. It doesn't have to be in a 5-year cycle. If you've done an upgrade or if you've removed a piece of infrastructure, if you think your facility class is too high or too low, you can change it anytime by clicking Action Request Reclassification. And as I mentioned, you must have that accepted relationship as either chief operator, person in charge. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, in this presentation, there's a bunch of screenshots that I've kind of added for your reference. You can request a copy of this presentation by emailing me or emailing anyone at the EOCP office. So you just have this reference material. But what I'm also going to do is go through the live system and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this is from a facility page. So this is a water distribution facility. And I want to reclassify it because it needs to be, or it's not done right, or for whatever reason. You go up into that upper right-hand corner, you click Action, Request Reclassification. When you do that, sorry, I'll just skip back. When you do that, it's going to open the classification page for you, and then we'll go through how you complete that here in a moment. So to check the status of your existing classification, you would refer to the Classifications tab. To see if there are any open classifications, you'd refer to the Action Items Applications tab. So keep in mind that for smaller communities, there's going to be one chief operator or one person in charge. For those larger communities, you may have multiple chief operators or multiple people identified as person in charge, in which case somebody could have started this already. So you can always check to see if that's the case. And as I mentioned before, any person with an accepted relationship can complete this form or see these details, but to submit it, you must be identified as the chief operator, person in charge. So here's a look at where you can find those applications. So in the top left, from your personal profile page, you can go to Action Items Applications. You'll see a list of all of those applications that are there. The status will either be pending or submitted or info required, depending on where you're at in the process. You can also get to the same details from going to the facilities page and clicking Action Items Applications. You'll see it there. So 2 ways to get to the same place. When you click on either one of those links, it's going to take you to the application page. So this is just a screenshot of a wastewater treatment classification form. It gives you some instructions. Please provide the details of your facility, save it, click submit, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to go through this here in detail, but just so you're aware of what the new form looks like in an online setting. There's 3 pages for each classification. The first page is going to ask you all the details about your infrastructure, that sort of thing, your population flow, all the data that we need. The second page is going to ask you to confirm that the list of operators who work there is up to date. So this is really important. Like I said, having up-to-date, accurate information helps us help you. So if there's operators that no longer work at your system, you can edit those out. You can right-click, edit, put an end date. If you need to add people, there's a add a relationship button, so you can do that as well. If none of that makes sense to you and you don't want to do it, you can just simply add a comment in that comment box and say, hey, please add these people, please remove these people, and we'll do that for you, no problem. Any other notes you want to add about the classification? So if your system has something unique about it that you want to tell us, or if you think it should be higher or lower, or something's gone on in your process and you need to make you need to let us know something, just add a comment there. Then the next step is facility schematic. So this we want to see essentially, we want to understand what the process flow of your system is. So it does not have to be an engineer drawing. You can draw this by hand. You can take a picture of a distribution map that's on your office wall. We just need to visually see what's going on in your system. Once you've done that, you'll click save, you'll hit submit. I should mention it will not let you submit this without the facility schematic. So make sure you do that. Once you hit submit, it will ask you to pay for the classification online. So this is you can either call us with a credit card, or you can, pay online through our third-party secure site. I should mention that the classification fees are changing in July 2021. So this step 3 will not apply after July 2021, but it does apply in the interim, so between now and then. So what I'm going to do now is change screens here, go into our CRM. So I'm going to log in under an operator profile so you can understand the permissions that I have as an operator, as opposed to if I were an EOCP admin. So name and password are in there. I'm going to go ahead and click submit. This is going to bring up my profile page. So here, you should see your name here, your address, phone number, email, certification number. If you're an operator, I'm not, so it says not applicable. Then down here, these are the tabs I talked about. So relationships, that's the important one. You want to make sure that you have accepted relationships. And if you're trying to classify that, you're listed as either person in charge or chief operator. If any one of those things is incorrect, you can right click, select edit. That will allow you to change these details and hit submit. And what else was I going to show you on here? Oh, yes. If you're looking for existing applications, you'd go to action items, applications, and that's going to show you a list of any pending or open existing applications that you have for facility classification. So what I'll do right now is I'm going to click on this first distribution facility. That's going to open it in a new tab. And now I'm going to show you where you can find detailed information about this facility as it already exists. So for this facility, I can go to relationships. Here's where I should see a list of every operator or person who works here. So this could be all of your employees, operators, consultants, administrative folks. This should all be accurate listed here. Action items, applications, again, this is where I could find a facility classification if I wanted to. Going back to the main profile page for this facility, under the facility tab, I can see some information. Under the facility details tab, I can find out what the current classification is. And under the classifications tab, I see that historical record. So it looks like this facility, for example, it's a test facility, so the data is a bit wonky. Was originally classified as level 4 water distribution back in 2012. It was then reclassified as level 1 and then reclassified again, etc. So you can see all that information here. What we'll do now is pop into the actual classification and let you see what that looks like. So again, I can access that from either action items applications under this page, or if you go back up to the top, I can go back to my profile page, action items, applications, find that water distribution facility. Yep, and I can access it here. So I'll do that. It's going to open the application in a new tab. It's going to let me know who last classified this facility. So who did it, when did they do it? And then make sure you read the instructions. So please provide the details, save it at any time, et cetera, et cetera. So facility location, this is not as applicable for distribution and collection systems, but if you have the GPS coordinates for your treatment plant, we'd appreciate you putting them in there so we can eventually track all that stuff. The next step is pretty, this is straightforward. Not a lot of this is different than applying for a classification in years past. We're going to ask you a whole bunch of questions about the infrastructure you have at your facility. You can check the boxes. You can see they check and uncheck, and they auto add up for you. So as you check it, you can see your score going up. As you uncheck them, you can see your score going down. So that's pretty straightforward. Check the boxes that apply. Make sure you don't miss any sections. And if you have a question about it, if you're not sure if it should apply, you can either contact me directly or contact someone at the USCT office directly, or you can leave a comment on page 2. After you fill out your infrastructure section, you're going to have an interim classification. So maybe you're level 1 or level 2 already. The next step is the influencers. So we've just broken the models down into it's a different way of adding them up. If you have detailed questions about the actual models, again, please contact us. Make sure you complete all the steps. So, punch in your population here. That's really helpful for us. If you have your flow data available, please punch that in. If you don't, it's not a big deal, but we really do like to have it. You'll see that there's no points assigned there, so it doesn't affect your classification, but it is important for us to have that. Anyway, you continue on, you fill out the rest of your application. Like I said, you're making sure there's a selection in each, you've checked something off in each box, in each tab. You're then going to be given an influencer score, and then finally a final classification. So when you get to the very bottom, you'll see your final facility classification. In this case, it's going to be level 3. You can save this as many times as you want before you're ready to submit. So if you want to save it and talk about it with other people in your team, go ahead and do that. When you're ready to submit, you click the next button. That's going to bring you to page 2, where I mentioned earlier, we're going to ask you to please confirm that, please review the list of operators that have indicated they work at your facility. So keep in mind, anybody who has any operator in BC with a profile can add your facility to their profile. So just go ahead and check to make sure all these people are actually current employees. If they aren't, right click, edit, change them. If there's things that need to be changed, like I said, you can do that yourself by right clicking and editing, or you can simply write in the comment, operator 123 no longer works here, please remove, etc., those sorts of things. You can also say, we do not have any reservoirs, whatever, whatever. You can write any sort of comment here that you want us to see when you submit your application. Then facility schematic, an up-to-date process schematic of the system must accompany this application. So you will not be able to hit submit unless you have something uploaded here. Again, it does not have to be an engineered drawing, but it just does need to show that major infrastructure. So if it's a water distribution system, please show your source, any reservoirs, PRVs, pump stations. We don't need to see every piece of pipe, but if you have a system map, that's great. Once that's done, you're going to, again, you can hit save before submitting, so it just saves your details. When you're ready to submit, you go ahead and hit that submit button. That's going to take you to the invoice page. So essentially, you're going to select who you want the bill to go to. In this case, I'm going to select myself, and then method of payment, credit card, proceed. That's going to take you to our third-party site where you can pay online with a credit card. If you don't want to pay with a credit card, at this point, just give our office a call and say you'd like to have an invoice issued, and we'll do that for you. And that's basically how we go through a facility classification. So the process is exactly the same for water distribution, treatment, wastewater collection, and treatment. When you're done and you've paid online, you will get a message that says, thank you, your application has been successfully submitted. If you don't pay, you will not, and it will not be submitted. So once you have done that, you can go back to the facility page and you'll see the status here changes from pending to submitted. That will notify us that it's there and ready for review, and we will go ahead and review it. Once we accept it, it will change to accepted. It may also change to info required if we have questions about some of the information you provided. So I'll just close this now. I'm going to close this too, go back home here. And I'm going to switch quickly back over to my slides. So a little bit more detail here. Once complete, so once you've got a submitted and accepted application, the details of that classification are available to view by anybody. So anyone who has a relationship with your facility can see exactly how you got to be level 1, 2, 3, or 4, what boxes were checked. They can download the schematic. We often get calls from operators or people saying, hey, how come this facility is a level 2 and not a level 3? That information is now all available online. The other one thing I'll say is that if you want to have a PDF or an Excel version of the model to complete before you fill it in online, we're happy to email those to you, but we won't accept them back. So we can send you a working copy of the document. However, you need to make the submissions online. So as I just mentioned, once your application is completed, it's been submitted and paid for and accepted by us, you can navigate back to the facility page, go to facility details, and click on facility classification details form. That's going to show you the completed application. So I'll just show you that quickly online. So here I have it logged back in. I'm on my own profile page. I want to go to that water distribution facility that I just classified. And I want to see those classification details. So I go to facility details, facility classification details form. That's going to open that classification form up in a read-only version. So you'll see I can't make any changes to this. This is the last approved classification. So this one was approved, updated on August 23rd, 2018 by operator player 1. And you can see, you can't make any, like I say, you can't make any changes here, but you can see exactly how many points were assigned, what level the facility is, etc. You can click next. You can see any comments that were added. You can download the facility schematic. So in this fun example, it looks like somebody uploaded a picture of a chair. Please don't do that. But you're able to see essentially what we have on file for your system. When you hit next in this situation, it's just going to show you that the invoice, when it was invoiced, whether it was paid or what. So this is a test facility, so the invoice actually wasn't paid. But in your case, you'll be able to see, yep, that was paid. It was paid by a credit card, or it was paid by check or whatever. So that is that's facility classification in the CRM in a nutshell. I hope that this has been useful. I'll just click back here to my slides. Like I mentioned at the beginning, the system is only as good as the information it contains. We do get a lot of people call us and say, hey, that's not right. That guy doesn't work here. She hasn't worked here since whatever. You know, that's fine, and we're happy to update it for you, but we don't know unless you tell us. So please keep your profiles up to date. If you're having issues, let us know. It's hard to learn a new system, but the more you use it, the easier it will get. Speaking from personal experience, when I started using the system, it's quite frustrating. And now, 3.5 years into using it regularly, it's very much second nature. Everyone at the EOCP is here to help you. So if you're having any problems at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. And we'd just like to thank you for taking time to get familiar with the new system. So at this stage, if this were a live webinar, I would take some questions or do some more examples. However, it is not. So I'm going to end this recording. If you do have questions, please send them to eocp@eocp.ca, and somebody in our office will get back to you quickly, just to ensure that everything is going smoothly. That goes for anything. If you need copies of the models, if you can't log in, if you've forgotten your password, if you need a little bit more assistance in terms of how to access certain parts, please don't hesitate to contact us. Hope you found this webinar useful, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.